Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel.
Good morning and welcome back to the Trailer Park. I am Chanda-Masta, the Trailer Park Pundit, and this is the Wednesday midweek recap because we haven't had a chance to talk with everything that's been going on. Let's see, we had Pasta on Thursday, and then of course Pasta stopped by on Friday, and then we had Chad and Pasta on Monday. There's a lot of news that we need to get caught up on. Man, Beauty and the Boomer, we throw a lot at you, and we're gonna throw a lot at you this week too. But there's always enough, right? I can do a show 5 days a week and still bring you 50 slides a show. That's just how much bullshit's going on in the world. And there's a lot right now. So we got a lot to catch up on. How is everybody this morning? Yes, I know. The immaculate and gorgeous and intelligent Fiorel Isbell is back and going live soon. I hear she's going to go live probably right around the same time as me. That's fine, guys. There's no way we can schedule these shows without being on top of each other. We love each other. We are a huge community, but I will not be sad if you go watch Fee and watch me later. Like, that's the way it rolls. So I know Oz is over there engineering for her. So Oz won't be in the chat this morning, I don't think, but you know, hey, we do what we got to do to get these shows out, these stories out. And Fee's been out there traveling. She's got a lot to say and a lot to bring. I'm excited to hear from her because we haven't heard from her in a couple of weeks. So I think it's important. Good morning, Kate. I'm sorry you woke up late. Yeah, I woke up super early, but I hate those days where I wake up late. Anthony's hanging out. DC. Hi, DC. DC, you had me cracking up on Friday night. And we got Death to Tyrants and Denver Attaway. And of course, Kate, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. And I haven't even brought the Rumble up yet. You know, Pasta put a video out yesterday about Rumble and how they're suppressing his Cornell interview. How's my mic, guys? Am I loud enough? And it's true. I've said this about, maybe I'm a little high there. I'm going to turn down a little bit. I've said this about Rumble for a long time. Like the first 2 weeks for us on Rumble were great. Like, oh my God, 300-400 views within an hour. We were hitting the algorithm. Like, oh my God, this is the answer. We just need to get away from YouTube and go to Rumble. But it has not been that way since. Like, like Pasta showed you in real time yesterday. You get buried on Rumble and you are buried. But I am glad to see that some that run in our little, media stream, they're actually in the algorithm. So Due Dissidents is showing up, Sabby Sabs, there is some good voices that are showing up. So I don't Rumble butt either. I have a hard time finding anything on Rumble. It's all just whatever they want to force feed down me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I haven't set my algorithm right over there, but whatever. So how's the weather for your first day of summer? Or was yesterday technically the first day of summer? It's been shitty and crappy and raining, record lows here all week. Like it's not cold enough. My poor peppers, my poor sunflowers, they're not doing well. Hey guys, I didn't manage to get a video out this weekend because it was super windy and it was messing with my mic. I did try. But there is a whole bunch of pictures of trailer park gardening over on my Facebook if you want to go check it out. Things are growing. I wish I lived somewhere warm because then I could really grow. I can't really grow today. Denver, I was once given a subscription to this publication. Here is the nation proclaiming if you live in the suburbs, you are by definition a racist and a racist. The subs have lower Home Depots. Yeah, I know. Anything and everything we do means that you're racist and a hater and living in the suburbs. I don't live in the suburbs. I live in the fucking country. I live in rural country, which the suburbs have come to us, sadly, because of the price of living in Seattle and the outlying areas, because it's all military. Everything suburb-wise around Seattle is fucking military. Or if it's not military, it's a subcontractor who sells to the military, i.e. Boeing and, McDonnell Douglas. There's all of them are over there, right? So everybody can't afford to live in Seattle. So what they do is they move to our side of the water because, you have to take a ferry to get to Seattle. Washington State has the biggest ferry system in the country. And all of our ferries are aging out. They're like 80 fucking years old. They run aground all the time. It costs, if you want to take your car across the ferry, bring a scene out because they charge you for or maybe, okay, they don't charge you, the driver. You're included in the overall fee for your car, which is outrageous. I don't even know. Last time I did it, it was like $40 or something. And then you have to pay for every person in the car. So, I mean, it's just out fucking outrageous to take the ferry. But if you want to drive around, then you got to pay tolls to get across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, But still, that's cheaper than living in the big city for these people that work at Amazon and whatnot. So they've flooded our areas. My little rural community was tiny and now it's disgusting. I hate even going out. There's so much traffic. It's like our best kept secret got out. We were ranked in the top 10 retirement communities for the country for like 10 years straight. So everybody from California just flooded up here. Prices were great. They could sell their $1 million home here and come buy a house here. So yeah, we're just California light up here is all we are. Okay, let's get this show started. We got so much to talk about. My granddaughter's here. I am Nana mode this week, and she helped me make my card. She calls this AI Nana. And I tell her some days she'll be thankful that she has AI Nana to go back and look at when I'm gone. It is kind of a cool thing, right? That I can leave a legacy online for her to see. Fair use. We are on YouTube this morning. Jilly's in the house. Good morning, Jilly. So, yeah, I am merely commentating. These are my opinions. Go out there, do your own research, and I promise you the answers are out there. They just don't think we'll bother to go look for them. They don't even bother to hide it. I mean, they just blatantly lie in our face. You guys rock for buying me coffees all week. Thank you for keeping me going at buymeacoffee.com/trailerparkjack. She rock. These stupid things, they won't pay you out unless you hit a certain threshold. Like today's payday on YouTube, and I don't think I hit the payout threshold for the second month in a row. This is what happens when they give you double community strikes back to back. They shut your channel down for weeks. And yeah, so get this, guys. YouTube sends me surveys as a content creator like every fucking week, and I fill them out. Because I want them to know how bad they're fucking us. And they sent me an invite to go to a hour-and-a-half long meeting with this consulting firm that is doing I don't know what they're doing, research for Google. They're working for Google. Anyway, so I have an appointment on July 13th for an hour and a half to sit down and bitch to YouTube about what YouTube's been doing to us. So yeah, I'll do that. And I mean, what's the worst they can do? Retaliate against my channel? They already peel, subs away from me every day. They suppress us in the algorithm. They hit us every single day with the copyright strike because I bring music to you guys. And I don't care if it's a kid with a guitar sitting on his back porch that can't sing worth a shit. Whoever wrote the original song will copy strike you, and you so I can't monetize anything on here. I don't try to monetize anything, but I can't monetize anything even if I wanted to. So I'm going to give them hell. You're damn right. I'm going to give them hell, DC. And I'm one of those community notes people over on on Twitter. I don't even know how that happened. Like one day they just like, here, you get to do community notes. So I get to go in and judge the community notes. And I freaking rip those suckers up. I mean, the shit libs love to come in and throw their fake facts around and whatnot. I shut those community notes down constantly. I do think that's a good thing on Twitter. I really do. My PayPal. I love my PayPal because it goes instantly into my bank account. That is the best and fastest and cheapest way to help me out. If you want to support my work and you like my work, I appreciate it. It's only because of you guys that I'm still here. Seriously, I never wanted to do this. I never thought to do this. People kept telling me, you have so much information. You have such a huge network. Can you please, start telling people what you know? And that's how I got here. You guys have carried me the whole way, and I appreciate it more than I can say. Guess what, guys? Summer solstice was yesterday. You know what that means? The pagans were having a good time. Am I a pagan? Maybe in another life I was. I think my ancestors probably were. This day in history. We got some crazy shit in this day in history. Just, I don't know. Odd. So we got a bunch of birthdays. It is Edward Snowden's birthday. Hey guys, make sure you hit him up on Twitter and let him know that we appreciate him and everything that he's done for us. Happy birthday, Edward Snowden. And let's see, Jay Brewer. Is that, what's his name? Jim Brewer, right? Is that how you say it? He's funny and he has been super outspoken comic on the mandates and the totalitarian state. I think he's funny. I've always loved him from, all the stoner movies back in the day. What was it? Half Baked? Was he in Half Baked? Or was it Half Baked? What was the one where it had Dave Chappelle? He was in Dave Chappelle's first big movie. He was the dude on the couch, wasn't he? No, that was a different guy. Anyways, stoner memories. Let's see. Serious though. 3 civil rights workers disappeared in Mississippi in 1964. Of course, that is Mississippi burning. They sadly found their vehicle in a swamp. Of course, they were dead. And yeah, that's history. There's quite a bit of information out there if you want to go look that up. 1982, John Hinckley Jr. was ruled to be innocent by reason of insanity for shooting U.S. President Ronald Reagan. Yeah, it was Half Baked. Okay, thanks, DC. Depending on who you believe, there might have been a little mind control involved in that one, but who's to say? And then, we're going way back. 1893, the first Ferris wheel was invented by George Washington Gale Ferris Jr., a Pittsburgh-based engineer who made its debut at the World Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Wow. I didn't know they'd been around that long. And I thought this was weird. In the birthday section, in totally different sections, they had these 2 birthdays. Now, that is Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter. And you might remember these 2 as the parents of one of our favorite sitcoms in the 80s, Family Ties. Who knew they shared a birthday? How weird is that? That's just a little odd. I bet they had great birthdays on set. I loved that show. Who didn't love a good 80s sitcom, right? They just made us feel so innocent and so just TV, right? That's the way we want it to be. And that's not the reality of many of our home lives. I think that 80s sitcoms gave us a false reality of what, or for a false sense of what reality was. Damn it. And then look at how terrible they were behind the scenes. The Cosby Show. We thought the Cosby Show was the best thing in the fucking 80s. And now we know the difference, right? And I always was a huge fan of Lisa Bonet. I remember when we were kids, you could write to people, like your teacher would say, you need to write a letter to your favorite star or whatever. And she was mine. And she was kind enough to write me back. And, she was very sweet. But, she got thrown under the bus when she left the Cosby Show. And we now know why she left the Cosby Show. He should have been in prison in the 60s. If people had listened to the women who came forward in the late 60s, especially hanging out at the Playboy Mansion, that man would have been in prison. But we know how that goes. The elites don't go to prison. Well, let's talk about that right now, because yesterday morning, I wake up to find out that Hunter Biden has pled guilty to 2 tax charge misdemeanors and a gun charge. What? Oh my God, they finally busted him. Yeah, right, guys. Come on. Ronnie Graham. I just did a PayPal, but think you might need to cancel PayPal going forward. Ronnie Graham, you're right. And I'm watching PayPal. Now, PayPal has messed with a lot of our peeps. And we've had our stuff shut down in real time when we were out there traveling. We can't put Julian Assange into any of the titles, like GoFundMe shut us down. Give Send Go has shut us down. But for right now, PayPal hasn't shut us down. But you're right. They're all shady. They're all hand in hand with, our authoritarian government. And if they think you're doing something they don't like, they're just going to come shut down all of your donation methods, right? And that's the authoritarian control we've been screaming about. But I appreciate you hitting my PayPal. Thank you so much. And I know we're keeping an eye on PayPal. We quit using PayPal for a long time because of that. But At the same time, YouTube upped its percentage that it keeps. So YouTube's now keeping 55% of your guys' super chats and monies that we make. And then Rokfin, that goes to the nonprofit Roar. So we appreciate everything that gets given to the Rokfin because that helps keep women in independent media going. And it helps Amber and I get out there on the road, which we haven't been out on the road since October. And a lot of that's my fault because my car is a piece of shit right now. It's a nice vehicle. I just put in a new transmission in it for like almost $3,000. I don't know, a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. But the other day, Monday, I had a fucking Monday, guys. Let me tell you, I had to go pick up my granddaughter. I did the show. My partner comes back, Cold Fusion comes back because I sent him to the food bank. That's how broken the heart of a month it has been. And he goes, the oil sensor came on and this annoying buzz in the car was like, the whole way home. And then when I shut it off, it didn't come back on. And I'm like, what? What's wrong with the oil sensor? So we checked the oil. The oil's fine. It's full. We don't know. It went off. So now I got to drive the next town over. And he's like, I don't really want you to drive by yourself. I'm afraid you're going to break down, blah, blah, blah. So he decides to go with me and cancel his stream because he's a streamer too. He streams 8 to 10 hours a day. So we get in the car, we make it about 5 miles down the road, and my front fucking tire blows. Like, what? I thought the motor would blow. I didn't think the tire would blow. So needless to say, I'm bus bound right now till I figure it out. But I'm at a point with this vehicle where it needs a new catalytic converter. It needs a whole entire suspension system redone on it. It's a nice car. It's like a 2008 or 9 Chevy Uplander. It's like a SUV minivan combo type thing. It's great for camping. It's great for having the grandkids. It looks good, but it just needs a ton of work. I don't know what to do. So I guess I'll be taking the bus till I figure it out. Anyways, that's enough of my whining and crying about terrible Mondays. So let's get started, guys. Breaking: Hunter Biden has pled guilty to 2 tax misdemeanors and a gun charge and will face no jail time as Democrats are calling for stricter gun laws. In 2018, Hunter Biden purchased a gun while addicted to drugs and lied on his application, which is normally a felony and up to 10 years in prison. He also failed to pay taxes on millions in income. It says million, but I'm assuming it's millions. And a whistleblower who was supposed to be investigating Biden at the IRS said the DOJ inhibited the investigation and slowly walked charges against him. Once again, rules for us, but none for them. Rules for thee, but not for me, right? No one's above the law. We know what this is, guys. This is a slap on the wrist. This is make it go away before the election, and it'll slap away the hypocrisy of what they're doing to Trump, right? You guys, Trump kind of predicted this, and we'll get to that. But I want to hear from Trump's son first. So this is from Donald Jr. Donald Trump Jr. says the blatant politicalization naturally of Joe Biden's Justice Department under AG Garland couldn't be more clear today. The plea deal that they cut for Hunter Biden reeks of favoritism and brazenly reveals a system where there are 2 tiers of justice who dependent on your political affiliation. Now, I believe this to be true in our country, right? It used to be the rich didn't have laws. I love the silly Americans. Laws are for poor people. But now we're really seeing a clear definition between if you are a Republican or a Democrat based on what our justice system is doing, right? So if you're a Republican, Biden's DOJ will throw the book at you and try to put you in prison for 100 years. But if you happen to have the right last name, like Hunter, they will protect you and treat you with kid gloves. We are no longer a nation with equal justice under the law, but rather something more akin to a third world banana republic. We've been saying that for years now, where the laws exist to protect the ruling class while targeting the opposition. Donald Trump Jr. I would like to point out that Lil Wayne had the same type of gun charges, and he's looking at 10 years in prison. Imagine that. 10 years, but not Hunter Biden, not at all. You know, they sat on that laptop for a long time. And I told you guys the week that laptop broke, that it was real, that this was not going away, that 2 years from now, we were going to still be hearing information about the laptop. And here we are. I nailed that one to a T. And why? Because Oz and I went onto a Chinese server and looked at that laptop. And guys, you guys haven't even scratched the surface with the amount of shit that they have let out. There's some bad stuff in that on that laptop. DC laws prohibiting addicts or mentally ill folks from possessing tools of self-defense are bullshit. I agree. Hunters should face justice, but fuck the gun charges. Yeah, I don't know if it came down to him like, are you on drugs? Is that one of the questions on the application? And if you mark no and they find out you're lying, then it's a federal charge. I don't think it was. I think it was something else. Like they asked him if he had charges pending on him or something like that. I'll look into that because you're right. And I live in Washington State. Now, they took guns away from mentally ill people 10 years ago, I think, up here, 8 years ago. And then they went after those with misdemeanor domestic violence charges. So what that means is you could get pissed off at your boyfriend and throw a lamp. And if the cops show up, you can never own a gun again. That's the way it goes. That in Washington State, everybody thinks California is the most progressive state. Nevada, yeah, no, Washington State could give you a run for your money when it comes to the authoritarian bullshit that the Dems here are pulling. And I got to tell you guys, I'm a little torn because Governor Jay Inslee, of course, terrible Democrat, you may know him. He decided he's not running for re-election for governor. So our AG, which is Bob Ferguson, another Dem, has decided to step up. Now, our AG is he's an attorney who has been suing the fuck out of big pharma, corrupt corporations. He takes no big money at all. Bob never gets into the mud when it comes to, the Dems propaganda because he's an attorney. He stays the fuck away from it. I've been to many fundraisers for Bob. I've known Bob. I've been friends with Bob for a long time. But he's a Democrat, guys. He's a fucking Democrat. At the end of the day, he's going to do what the Democrats want. I'm torn because I always said I'd support Bob if he ever ran for governor. But now at this point, just knowing the Dems the way I do, I don't know if I can vote for a Dem. Let's see here. Let's hear from Tucker. Of course, Tucker had to get in on the action. I think this was Tucker number 6 yesterday, but he nails it.
Your son, while there's no ties to you, could be charged by your Department of Justice. Got that? Well, there's no tie to you. So the answer is, in fact, in the question. Whatever Hunter Biden goes down for, and we know he is going to be charged because MSNBC said so, but when that happens, that's Hunter's problem. It's got nothing to do with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Rest easy, America. 5 days later, the Oversight Committee released its findings, and they were, in fact, devastating. Quote, bank records show the Biden family, their business associates, and their companies, their many companies, received over $10 million from foreign nationals and their related companies, the committee wrote. Investigators had, quote, identified payments to Biden family members from foreign companies while Joe Biden served as vice president and after he left public office. So actually there was something there. It was a scandal. Racketeering, money laundering, wire fraud, those are some of the crimes the Bidens seem to have committed, in addition, of course, to selling out the United States for cash. So what would happen to them? Well, Donald Trump had an idea, quote, they'll hit Hunter with something small to make their strike on me look fair. Trump wrote that about 2 weeks ago, and it turned out those were prescient words. This morning, Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to pretty much nothing. Biden pled to 2 misdemeanor tax evasion charges, then entered a diversion on a federal gun charge. That's it. As far as Merrick Garland's Justice Department is concerned, Hunter Biden is done. There was no pre-dawn raid carried live simultaneously on CNN. There was no perp walk, no handcuffs, no press conference. Above all, there was no felony. Hunter Biden, who broke federal gun laws, can still carry a gun. It's like it all never happened. In fact, the Justice Department just baptized Hunter Biden, a lifetime of sins washed away in an instant.
And Snarky says, I also have beef with Tucker. he goes way too easy on the Bidens, take the gloves off, flush the toilet, and get to work. And I think he really does in that it's about a 10-minute breakdown. I only brought you like 2 minutes of it. But he's right. This is going to go away, right? They're not going to, I'm sure it's a sweetheart deal that's wrote in there that they cannot charge him with anything else that has to do with anything like this or any, they're going to do the same thing they did with Epstein. They're just going to wrap it up and make it go away. And yeah, I love somebody said something about how he's making money. How is Hunter Biden making money right now? He's making money selling paintings. Have you seen his paintings? They look like something. I mean, honestly, my 10-year-old granddaughter could do better paintings, but yeah, he's getting $500K a painting. And I'm sure, right? Like, oh yeah, give me this deal and I'll say I painted you a picture, right? This is so gross. This is the worst. I mean, we had major disgusting nepotism under Trump. Don't get me wrong. I was screaming about it the whole time. Like, this is gross. Kids should not be involved in their parents' business, and especially in their administrations. And, Hunter doesn't have a title in the administration, but come on. He's the go-between guy. We know that he's the access. He's selling and has been selling access to his father for 20 fucking years, probably longer, since he was in, elite prep school in high school, I'm sure. And they've shared bank accounts. There's so much here. Anybody who truly wanted to prosecute these guys could, but no jail time for him, right? What he'll pay a fine. Daddy will pay a fine for him. That the money that came from Burisma will cover the fine. This is disgusting. This is exactly what we have said is wrong with this country for so long. And yeah, Trump predicted it. He predicted it, 4 weeks ago? Trump predicts Hunter Biden will get charged with something small to make the strike on me look fair. Yeah. Wow. The corrupt Biden DOJ just cleared up hundreds of years of criminal liability by giving Hunter Biden a mere traffic ticket. Our system is broken. Yes, Trump, it is broken. And what the fuck did you do about it while you were in there? Oh, you broke it more. That's right, because you're the savior. Can we just be done with all of these fucking criminals around here? Ooh, what is this, Jim? Jim sent me something about Bob. I will definitely read it after the show. Bob Ferguson is pushing the most dangerous bill in legislative history. Oh my God, I'm going to have to read that. I will not be shocked. But I'll tell you what, I will let him know about it. I have that kind of access to Bob Ferguson. So I will read that after the show. Thank you. I love when you guys drop links for me. I do go read them after the show. Did you guys see what the fuck was going on this weekend? We had military on the move all last weekend. Why? Nothing to see here, guys. So yeah, military troops in at least 15 cities in the U.S. I didn't bother to bring you guys the videos and the clips just because it was 5 days ago, but we saw them in San Diego, Philadelphia, we saw a lot of it. But here's the thing. I live pretty much on a military base. They have turned the whole Olympic Peninsula into a base. It's the Navy's done they do their magnetic warfare training here. We have the Growlers. We have base Woodby Island and normally when there's something going on, even training, we get a ton of traffic and, we know they're on the move. But I haven't seen that this weekend. So it made me wonder, did they send them out of here? Are they somewhere else? I don't know. But basically, they just told us to shut up and quit being conspiracy theorists because it's Army training, sir. Army training. They're just doing training. Stop being conspiracy theorists. And, just to remind you, Top Gun was a propaganda piece wrote by the CIA with help from the military-industrial complex. But, we love Tom Cruise. Don't watch that shit. I have not watched the second one. Nostalgically, I remember the first one because it came out in my youth, but I never really cared for it. I kind of feel bad for Kelly McGillis, too. Time was not kind to her. So I'm going to keep an eye on this story. If you guys know more about it, let me know. This guy is doing a good posting of how many military vehicles. Okay, good. Let me see. Yeah, Derek Bros. I follow. Or it's not Derek Bros that we all know. It's a different one, right? Yeah, Broes. Yeah, that's who I follow for a lot of this information. So thank you guys. I'm glad you guys are following the same people I am. Actually, I will see you guys following people for information, and I will go follow them. So you guys help me out all the time. Let's hear from the general himself on what's going on. It's a global effort. Global effort.
Through a global effort, more than 6,000 Ukrainians are being trained right now at 40 different locations, training locations, in 65 courses in 33 nations on 3 continents. That is all happening right now, today. Since the beginning of the war, the United States has trained over 11,000 Ukrainians in combined arms maneuver and staff training. The U.S. training effort has created 12 maneuver battalions and nearly 5,000 operators that are fighting those machines right now, along with their combined arms staffs. We are currently training 3 battalions, a tank battalion and 2 territorial National Guard battalions. All in all, the international effort has trained almost 60,000 Ukrainian soldiers for this current operation, and many of whom are engaged in close combat as we stand here today. Last week, the United States released another Ukrainian Security Assistance Initiative package totaling several billion dollars, $2 billion. This package procures critical capabilities, including Patriot munitions, Hawk air defense systems, artillery, rocket munitions, maintenance, sustainment support, and much more. Additionally, this week, we released our latest drawdown package of $325 million. From our current stocks, we are providing Ukraine air defense munitions, Gimlers, long-range artillery, artillery rounds, 155, Bradleys, Strikers, and many other capabilities.
So what? They can get blown up. I was listening to Garland Nixon this morning as they got dressed. I kind of bounce around in the morning. Sometimes I'll watch Heartlands or, Jason Burmas. I always catch at least 1 hour of Burmas. But yeah, he was talking about how everything's blown the fuck up. We keep sending shit there and it just keeps getting blown it up. And yeah, they can train all these people all they want, but if they have no weaponry and they're dead, doesn't help. Oh my gosh, you guys are cracking me up in the chat. Dingo, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Dingo. You share a birthday with Ed Snowden. That's kind of cool. That is very cool. DC, I had my first child in 92. You're the same age as my oldest daughter. You are a baby, but that's okay. You're an informed baby. And I have so much respect for the younger generations who understand what's going on because it took so many of us so long to actually figure it out. So happy birthday, Dingo. Dingo ate me, baby. Dingo, dingo. Perfect age, celebrate, enjoy. Yeah, 45 is a good age. I loved my 40. I love my 40s. I'm almost out of my 40s now, but my 40s were my best years out of all of my adult years, I will say. Everything they say about your 40s is true. Yeah, 100%. You're wise enough. You don't give a shit what other people think. You've been through the school of hard knocks. I think your 40s are fun. For sure. Hercules, you don't want to be on the receiving end of this gunship, aka the angel of death. And this is what we have instead of insulin and debt-free college. Exactly. But hey, I think, is this next slide what I think it is? Yeah, it is. But hey, good news. They found more money. The Pentagon made an accounting error yesterday and announced that they have more money for Ukraine. Not for you, for Ukraine. I love how nervous this woman is too.
Following up from some announcements earlier this year, during the department's regular oversight of our execution of Presidential Drawdown Authority for Ukraine, we discovered inconsistencies in equipment valuation for Ukraine. In a significant number of cases, services used replacement costs rather than net book value, thereby overestimating the value of the equipment drawn down from U.S. stocks and provided to Ukraine. Once we discovered this misvaluation, the comptroller reissued guidance on March 31st, clarifying how to value equipment in line with the financial management regulation and DoD policy to ensure we use the most accurate of accounting methods. We have confirmed that for FY23, the final calculation is $3.6 billion, and for FY22, it is $2.6 billion, for a combined total of $6.2 billion. These valuation errors in no way limit or restricted the size of any of our PDAs or impacted the provision of support to Ukraine. And while the DoD retains the authority to utilize the recaptured PDA, this has no bearing on appropriated USAI or Ukraine PDA replenishment funding approved by Congress.
Okay, we'll break that down in a second. And then we told him it was a $6.2 billion accounting error. And community chess, accounting error in your favor. Collect $6.2 billion. Guys, this should be a red flag. This should be a red flag. I have worked in accounting many times in my life. I was a bookkeeper a couple of different times in my life. And when you have fined money, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. And so did this come from those hammers that they said cost them $850, but they were actually only paying $20 a hammer? I mean, we know they do this. They've always done this. But of course, it doesn't go in the people's favor ever. It'll go in Ukraine's favor. Disgusting, gross. They just make shit up. And yeah, who's the lucky one? Winner of a 2.04 Powerball jackpot announced after a technical glitch. Yeah, that's about what it comes down to, right? They needed to give him more money, and they said, well, you know, the public will get pissed off if we just start pulling money again. So we'll just say it was an accounting error. Yeah, it's accounting error. We'll give you the money. Funny, we never make that money back when there's an error. It's never in our favor, right? Never. Let's see. I think I brought some polls. So new poll reveals voters think Trump is a criminal, Biden is too old, and DeSantis is a fascist. I think they got that backwards. I mean, yeah, DeSantis on the outward kind of has a little bit of a fascist front, but when you get down to what the actual word fascism means, Biden's the fascist. And let's see, the 2024 National GE poll says Trump 45, Biden 39, DeSantis 41, Biden 40. That is not good, guys. And this is why they're working so hard to shut Donald Trump up, right? Not that I think Trump will be any better at all. At all. Trump already had a chance. And what did he do? He shoved fucking warp speed down our throats. All he did was cause hate and discontent and rile up the nationalists. I don't think we need another term of Trump, but I definitely know we don't need another term of Biden. But we're just stuck in this fucking cartoon doing the same thing over and over and over. I mean, the only way it could get any worse is if Hillary Clinton decided to get in the fucking race, right? DC, anyone who supports sending billions to Ukraine and Israel, but opposes reparations for descendants of slaves should get the wall. I agree with you. I do. Absolutely. I support reparations. I don't know how to articulate my feelings about reparations, but I absolutely support them. But I think it needs to be done right. And I don't know if California's doing it right. So I would like to see, you know, people compensated for how evilly our government has treated people. But then that really opens the door, right? Make sure. Oh, did I miss a Super Ray? Super Ray, let me go back and find it. Oh no, I already got it. Okay. I try to stay up on real time because I want you guys to be able to ask me questions in real time and, you know, me give you answers. That's why I'm doing these independent shows now. The Dip Shitler. Leave Joe Biden alone. Biden's been a good president, but Republicans want to impeach him and some Democrats want to replace him. Boy, the Atlantic Daily. I don't think the Atlantic Daily is the same thing as the Atlantic, right? But boy, they sure been on a shit show lately. So actual Nazi German military officers who ran NATO through the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Yes, there they are. Adolf Hessinger. I can't see the names. They're really small, but we know them, right? We know them. And if you don't, you need to go check out Annie Jacobson's work in Operation Paperclip because she did an amazing job of breaking down just how we protected the Nazis, brought them over here, and put them in charge of everything. And most people don't believe that. I remember my mom telling me in the 90s, like, oh, the Nazis are fine. We brought them here. And yeah, they worked for us. I was like, what? Come on, Mom, you're crazy. Most of the shit my mom taught me, I thought she was crazy at first, but now I know. Now I know the difference. Obama calls for digital fingerprint to help censor misinformation online. So, former President Obama calls for digital fingerprints to be mandatory online to help authorities censor so called misinformation. But I love who gets to decide what is misinformation, right? Those who spread misinformation get to decide what is misinformation. And why wouldn't Obama be pushing this? And yeah, I'm sure the Democrats. I will read this Bob Ferguson article, and I will be at my local meeting to call his ass out on it if it gets close to being pushed through our legislation. So, you know, just when you think, okay, maybe there's a few Democrats inside the party that will actually push back, this is what you get. So, Kate says, if Madame Fancy Pants runs, H.A. Goodman's wildest sexual fantasies would come true. Is he still saying stuff like that? I haven't watched H.A. Goodman in probably 5 years, but is he still saying stuff like that, right? Didn't he go full Trumper? I think after Bernie lost in 2016, by 2017, wasn't he full on Trump? You know, it's so weird. I got an email the other day from one of you guys, and you were telling me about how y'all came through Tim Black. So many of you met it with Tim Black's show. Well, I got my start with Tim Black too. I hung out with Tim in Philly for the 2016 DNC convention. We hung out again in Chicago. I would call into his shows. Like, I knew all his mods, Michael Pineno and whatnot. And he would always shout, he'd always shout us out. But then Tim and I we went two totally different directions, I'd say in 2017. And I really haven't watched a lot of Tim since then. So, and of course, you guys know H.A. Goodman used to do a Monday show with Tim Black. So that's why I was referring to that. Yeah, I don't know about AJ. I don't know. What is this? I verify will crack down. Oh, this is a warning from Adabu7, I want to say.
This is Dabu7, and it seems every time we turn around, these totalitarian groups and regimes are making moves here to try to strip our freedom and power, minute by minute. It's often the World Economic Forum that we've been talking about here recently, but now the UN joining them with pretty much the exact same plan, showing you how in bed they are together here on the world stage. Well, the UN now rolls out this new fact-checking system, and it's going to be a game changer. The mainstream media is being absolutely quiet about it. Well, perhaps it's because they don't want millions of people to object to this type of tyranny. And here we have this I Verify. The United Nations unveiling this automated fact-checking service to counter so-called disinformation and hate speech on the internet. So you know what this is. Anything that goes against the grain or against what they believe, they're going to try to shut down. And this is large scale, this is full scale, this is all over the globe, across the entire globe. So the World Economic Forum and the UN now pretty much coming down two different avenues with the same plan. Here to control everything. Now, Barack Obama just came out the other day and said everyone needs a digital fingerprint. This plays right into this whole thing. Also into their biometric ID, carbon tracking, the whole nine. And the CBDC on blockchain in the end of it. So in response to what they brand as online information pollution, they say that this is a global challenge. And the United Nations Development Program has launched its I Verify platform to counter this as they partner with Facebook and Google-funded fact-checker Meeden and the Meta-owned CrowdTangle, as well as the Soros-funded International Fact-Checking Network, IFCN. So there you go.
Guys, I don't know how long we're going to be able to meet like this. I mean, with the authoritarian overreach that we're seeing, I mean, it's already been bad. It's been bad since 2016. But if they get what they want, and I mean, it looks like iVerify has rolled out, and so globally, they'll be tracking what they deem misinformation. But if we get these digital fingerprints that Obama is calling for, I don't how do somebody like me or any of the people that, we follow for independent media, how do we get our message out? They're going to pigeonhole us into small platforms where nobody can find us or nobody can hear us. They'll suppress us even more in the algorithm. Like, we're used to this, but I think it's going to get much worse. I'm scared that it's going to get much worse. I don't know about FEMA camps, but I'm FEMA camp 10 if anybody comes looking for me. But I can promise you, if some National Guard knocks on my door and says you got 5 minutes to head towards the camp, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. Ain't happening. You ain't putting me in a camp. I'm prepared. I will make it on my own. I don't need your help, right? But that's what they want. They want all of us depending on them, right? I think it's getting worse. I mean, we always say we're screwed, but I'm starting to get scared. Like, what's coming next, man? This story is heartbreaking to me. Hundreds feared dead as a search continues for survivors off the coast of Greece. A vessel with 1,100 migrants capsized, and not very many have been rescued. Let's see. I've got the article here. I want to say they pulled, how many did they pull out? More than 500 migrants are believed to have been on board. Well, now they're saying it was 1,100. Rescuers have saved 104 people. 104 people out of that many people. Only 79 bodies have been recovered. This is historically the most dangerous migrant route in the world. And we've heard reports like this before, off the coast of Greece. It's so heartbreaking. But there's some discrepancies in the story. So Greece boat disaster, the BBC investigation cast doubts on the Coast Guard's claim. Coast Guard said that the BBC has obtained evidence casting doubts on the Greek Coast Guard's account of Wednesday's migrant shipwreck, in which hundreds are feared to have died. Analysis of the movement of other ships in the area suggests that the overcrowded fishing vessel was not moving for at least 7 hours before it capsized. The Coast Guard still claims that during these hours, the boat was on course to Italy and was in no need of rescue. Greek authorities have not yet responded to the BBC finding. So I don't know. I will keep an eye on that. That is just heartbreaking. That was, a lot of children and fleeing global tyranny that we push, across the world. It's heartbreaking. And, everybody's busy talking about that damn submarine, which we'll get to the submarine. But I think this is a more important story. These are people fleeing hardship and, starvation and being unable to live. And nobody wants to talk about it. But you put 5 billionaires in a goddamn pop can and send them down to the Titanic, and everybody wants to know about it. Hi, Booger. Did you finally get up? You sleepy girl. I thought you were the cat climbing over there. I was like, what's the cat doing? Come here. Good morning. Did you get some breakfast? Go get some breakfast. Oh, she's getting so big. Look at that. So big. So big. Okay. Make sure you get something to drink, something to eat, and hang out with Papa.
Papa's boring.
I know Papa's boring. Okay, let's talk about White Gladys, guys. I got to give Kit a shout out over at Hardlands Media. He has been on top of this story for at least 2 weeks that I know of, week and a half. So there is orcas out in the Strait of Gibraltar that are attacking boats and disabling them by hitting their rudders, and they sunk a number of boats. And some are speculating that something happened. Maybe a mama or one of the babies got killed or taken, and they are on the hunt. But that's not the story to me, right? I know that orcas are a matriarchy. The grandmothers raise the calves, the babies, And White Gladys definitely is pissed off. But the Atlantic, because they don't do real journalism, had nothing better to write about. And yeah, they put an article out. Jacob Stern is proclaiming that killer whales are not our friends. They're not your friends, guys, because the Atlantic doesn't have anything more important to write about. I love all these memes, man. These have been the best memes all week. Nice boat you got there. Be ashamed if someone put it at the bottom of the ocean and then fuck them boats. And billionaires, orcas figuring out that they can just rip yachts apart from below. yeah, that's great. But I got something even better for you guys because somebody decided to write a rap about this and it is funny. Hopefully YouTube don't hit me for this, but they might. I don't care. Check it out.
It's funny.
Fuck your yacht, bitch. I'm mobbing with my squadron. Bitch, I'm a orca, not a motherfucking dolphin.
Y'all been fucking up our habitat, so now we're fighting back. I ride with a pod, I slide with a pack. We're strapped up with knowledge, our ops gonna die. Gang, 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 if you're not on our side, fuck you.
Hey, Jacob Stern, you a straight up nerd. Before you wrote them words, you put on clown makeup first.
You fucking bozo, we gon' come for the shits by the boat.
Cause all y'all care about is getting rich. We're sinking this relationship.
We are militant, radical, conscious, and we are the motherfucking militant, radical, conscious, animal. We are orcas, that is us. Radical, we love conscious, we are animal. Don't you?
So that is funny. I love how they call him out by name. It's so funny. Isn't it funny, Kate? I hope Kit got a copy of that. I haven't sent that to him, but I'm sure he found it just like I did. And this meme's pretty funny too. Let's see. What is this meme? The orcas deserve their revenge and those yachts deserve to die. I have a lot more orca memes. I sent a bunch of them over to Beauty and the Boomer. So tune in Saturday night if you want to see some more funny orca memes. I love orcas. I always have my whole entire life. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up on the Puget Sound. We have the J-Pod up here, and they come in all the time into our harbors locally, and they are called killer whales, guys, but they're super smart. And, you know, some people speculate that maybe one of the babies of the pod got or injured or killed, and that's why they're on a warpath. Well, living up here on the Olympic Peninsula, we have seen a lot of local animals go fucking crazy because of the Navy's military training, their sonar training, their the magnetic warfare training. We've been very worried about that. We don't know. These guys have very, very sensitive ears. They can literally hear noises, a couple hundred miles away underwater. So who knows? Maybe there's something going on in the Strait of Gibraltar that's driving them crazy, and the only way they know to do is to attack the boats. I don't know. Maybe somebody should do some research on it instead of just saying killer whales are not your friend. I mean, that's kind of the opposite of what we've been told our whole entire life, right? Like, we need to protect the whales. I mean, I lived in the battleground of the macaws. You guys know one of my best friends is macaw. And of course, they are a whale hunting tribe. And it was a big fucking federal fight for them to even go out and get one whale years ago. And whether you supported it or not, that was their fight up here. So go. I'm Team Orca all the way. Go Team Orca. Okay, so let's talk about a submarine missing near the Titanic. You used a $30 Logitech gaming pad for steering. Oh, and we wonder what happened to these guys. Are you kidding? They didn't even have a direct line of communication or fucking GPS on this pop can that they decided to spend, $250,000 each to go down there. This is just insane. They were locked in, bolted in from the inside that machine. It's not even a sub. It's like just a underwater craft. I can't remember what they call them, but a submersible, right? And I have a feeling that this thing is crumpled up as like a pop can at the bottom of the fucking sea. Hello, PS5. Yes, Papa. They were using a PS5 controller to steer this thing, and they wonder what happened. And they were almost 2 miles down? Isn't Titanic like 2 miles down there? So yeah, it looks like Titanic is getting a sequel. And this is just insane. Well, let's look at a few of these memes. Of course, there's a lot of memes coming out about this too. Touring the wreck of the Titanic, $250,000. Joining the wreck of the Titanic forever, priceless. Yeah, those elites, they can't, they can't get enough excitement, right? They need entertainment. So missing must be the orcas. Yeah, I don't know, different body of water. So unless the orcas are communicating with orcas in the Atlantic, I kind of doubt it was the orcas, but yeah, I think there's way too much attention on this story. You know how the media is. There's a lot of connection to this to Lady Ghislaine, because if you guys remember, I reported to you a couple of years ago that the Lady Ghislaine, not only was she a helicopter pilot, she was a submersible submarine pilot too, who worked very closely with these billionaires and millionaires that were on this boat. And yeah. They're not gonna fight these guys. That's so vast down there. Don't they have a beacon on board? My first question was, what? They don't have a beacon? I was like, beep, beep, beep. They just track it. If they did, I have a feeling it got crushed. I mean, the kind of pressure that far down, yeah, it's like crushing a pop can. Hi, little Chanda. Yeah, she is my little me. That's Hunter. That's my Hunter bear. Somebody called me Bear the other day in one of the chats. I don't remember which one of you guys did it, but that is my nickname. I'm Panda Bear, Chanda Bear. My whole family just calls me Bear. And I have a whole family of bears because I had Cody Bear, my son, and now I have a Hunter bear. We have a lot of bears in the family. The bears. Did you guys see this? It's a bad fucking day. Let's talk about election 2024 now. It's a bad day when even the Vanguard boys have to admit that their favorite pick has gone through 2 campaign managers, and that might be a problem. Just might.
This is the time where we were really looking to see the Marianne Williamson campaign reach the next plateau, make some big moves, kind of elevate the campaign to a degree that we could feel really serious about. And I don't want to make any brash declarations. I want to give them their time to respond. But what I will say, given the information that I have now, which is what I've shared with you, Galvin and I are in the dark as anybody. We live in Kansas City, Missouri. We're not Washington insiders. But it looks like Rosa Calderon is out. She was there to replace Peter Dow, who's also out. You lose 2 campaign managers within that short span of time. It doesn't matter pretty much what else you do when you're polling at 6%. That's not the kind of, you got to think of a campaign as like a locomotive. And you know how trains start and they are slow, but they pick up steam. If you stall, you have to start your steam again from the beginning. And then it's a slow moving thing. So yeah, here we are. We're giving you guys the update, the painful scoop. And that's our job here. So you didn't see it in Politico. You didn't see it on any other major show. You didn't see it on the front page of the New York Times. You heard it here on the Vanguard if you were one of the 221 motherfuckers listening. And that's a scoop for you. So shout out to everybody that listened and tuned in. You got there first.
Wow. What are they going to do now? What's Crystal Ball going to do? Who are they going to support? She already burned her bridge with RFK Jr., right? So we know she ain't going there. And Cornell's not inside the Democratic Party. That means they're going to have to vote for Biden. Oh, that's right. They were already going to vote for Biden. What the hell are we talking about? So stupid. But that's the reality when these guys, remember, they were at Kyle and Crystal's wedding. The Vanguard guys were. And who's their candidate now? Kate says, it looks to me the Vanguard Junior reporters are streaming from the same studio set as the Phil. I can't see that word. Is it Littner? I thought I saw it somewhere else. Phil Littner. Yeah. I don't know what that show is, Kate, but they could very well be. We have said that these guys are COINTELPRO for a long time. I don't know. We, back in the day, a couple years ago, Oz and I think, did a show with these guys. We try to meet everybody that's out there, at least have a conversation with them. And I just haven't watched a lot of Vanguard, so I don't know. But I wonder what they're going to do now. I wonder what all of them are going to do now that their candidate is the third sequel to the Titanic, right? Because she ain't going down, man. We've been saying that since day one. Her condescending gated community voice just rubs me raw. It's her accent, right? She has that Eastern Seaboard money accent. I don't know how else to explain it, like the Kennedys type of accent, you know? Maybe that's just me being me, but that's the way I hear her. On top of all the bad shit she says, but I'm just judging her on her voice alone. Let's hear from RFK Jr. and what he do. Now, I agree with this, guys. He's saying he's going to ban big pharma commercials if elected. Now, I remember a time when there was no big pharma commercials on TV, and it was fucking glorious. So let's hear from him.
What's up, you guys? I'm here with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's running for president in 2024. Bobby, what's the first thing you do in office to overhaul the pharmaceutical industry and send a message for positive change?
The first thing I'm going to do, day one, is I'm going to sign an executive order getting all of the pharmaceutical advertisements off of television.
Okay.
But they've not only addicted the United States, we take now 3 times the amount of pharmaceutical drugs as Europeans do, or anybody else in the Western world. Pharmaceutical drugs are the 3rd biggest killer of Americans after cancer and heart attacks. And our health outcomes are worse than any country in the world. So we're 79th, we're after Mongolia, Cuba, Costa Rica in terms of health outcomes. But it's also given the pharmaceutical industry control over the content of the network news. So the people who are working, who are telling you the news every night, they know that their paychecks are coming from pharma, and that's not a good thing.
Okay. All right, time for a fun question. Your wife, Cheryl Hines, is in the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. Do you have a favorite episode you've seen her in?
Well, I think I have 2 of my kind of favorite arcs. One of them is the kidney arc where where Larry
gives the kidney.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. He actually never gives the kidney. It's the ski lift episode, and then the other one is the arc of the Dodgers game, which has a really interesting story that ended up saving.
I could give 2 shits less about Curb Your Enthusiasm. So sorry, I had to kill that. If you want to go see what his favorite episodes are, I totally hit space and forgot that his wife was Cheryl Hines, right? But she's the blonde that was in Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know. In the beginning, I liked that show, but then as I became more aware of what's really going on in the world, I was just kind of like, well, this is just selling bullshit. So not that big into it. But yes, I would love to see him shut down big pharma commercials on air. And he's right. It does give big pharma control over these stations because they're paying for all the advertising. And in media, advertising's everything, right? So I loved it when we didn't have big pharma ads on the air. I think that big alcohol ads, big pharma ads, you don't see cigarette ads on TV, right? They got rid of those in the late 60s. I didn't grow up with cigarette ads on TV. We had cigarette ads in magazines and newspapers. We had alcohol ads in magazines and newspapers, but we did not see this shit that we see nowadays. They got the whole fucking internet to advertise on. Why do they have to focus all of their energy on mainstream media so that way they can control the narrative, just like we saw under COVID and we're continuing to see, because we're going to get to the Peter Hotez shit. We haven't even talked about that little puke. Let's see. Fred Edwards saw this on another chat. Marianne Williamson likes to talk at people, not to people. Absolutely 100% correct. You're right. She does talk at people, right? I agree, Fred. Let's see. What is this? So RFK Jr. is not anti-establishment. He's a millionaire 40 times over. Marianne Williamson is not progressive. She's pro-war. Both support Israel. Both are Democrats. Both are white, wealthy, and privileged. Both are cult of personalities. Both have violated your standards, yet they have your support. They do not have my support. And yeah, Chomsky should take a little of his own advice. It is the responsibility of the intellects to speak the truth and expose lies. So then why is it that you and so many of academia always support their narrative, because we've talked about this a lot this week. If you tuned in on Monday, I had former 2020 Green Party president candidate Chad Wilson, and then of course we had Craig Pasta Jardula stop by after his amazing interview with Cornel West this weekend, where he held his feet to the fire and asked him some tough questions that nobody in the 30 shows that Cornel did the week before asked him. And I appreciate that. But we had a very in-depth conversation about academia and how they continue the support for the institutions, right? They got to go along to get along. And we see that from so many of our leaders that we actually look up to and respect. Chris Hedges, Cornel West, Chomsky, I have no respect for anymore. I used to. Don't get me wrong, manufacturing consent I thought was amazing, but then he goes out there and manufactures consent under COVID. And no. When you say that a poor and colored people should be locked up and should not receive medical treatment because they refuse to take an experimental poison, yeah, no, you're manufacturing consent for big pharma, Chomsky. And we've called it out a lot. And the intellects, it is their duty, but they don't do it, right? Do I have a doctor's appointment? My phone just went off. I don't think so. I never go to Western doctors. You guys, I found this on my Facebook. This was the first instance of censorship that I remember seeing in 2016. And who would have known it was a Matt Orfalea video? I didn't even know I was following Matt back then. I guess I had good taste even back then. So this is August 26th of 2016. And I remember this very clearly. This was a PBS special that Jill Stein had sat down and done an interview with PBS, which we were thrilled about, because you remember, that's when we were really seeing PBS shitting all over Bernie Sanders. And this was Facebook not allowing me to share the information. It was violating their community standards. But basically what they did is PBS cut out Jill Stein's criticism of the TPP and Hillary Clinton, editing out nearly 2/3 of her answers to her last question. And we weren't allowed to share this. So, of course, there you are. That's the first taste of censorship I remember having. That's why I document this stuff, so I can look back at it. And that was the first time I was like, holy shit, they're actually not allowing free speech to go out there. I mean, and yeah, say what you want about Jill Stein nowadays, but back then in 2016, it was important that we got her message out, I thought. Yeah, live and learn, right? Live and learn. More than 1 million people are dropped from Medicaid as states start a post-pandemic purge of the rolls. Oh, yeah. We saw that come down in our state, Washington, in March. And then now there's more and more states doing it. You know what else they're doing, guys? Those loans, those PPP loans that they said you wouldn't have to pay back, you're having to pay them back, because if you didn't do the paperwork right, or you didn't meet the criteria exactly how they said, what they did is what they always do. Like unemployment does this too. They automatically approve every application that comes through. They just send out the money, right? They don't look at it like, oh, okay, you met all the boxes. We're not going to investigate it, nothing. We're just going to send out the money. So then a couple of years later, they decide, oh, well, let's audit all of these applications and make sure all of these people qualified to even get the money in the first place. So then they go, oh, you didn't qualify. You didn't meet this criteria. And so you got to pay us back, and you got to pay us back interest. And we want big time interest. I mean, that is the biggest scam for me with unemployment that I've ever fucking seen in my life. The first time I just got a random check from unemployment, it was in like 1992. And 6 months later, they wanted interest and they wanted it back. Every time I've ever dealt with unemployment, I've ended up having to pay them back all of my money and then a shit ton of interest. And when I say a shit ton of interest, hundreds of dollars a month interest. How do you do that to somebody who's not even working? It's robbery. It's robbery. I mean, Medicare for all, I've said it for 100 years, forever. We need Medicare for all, but what does that look like under a banana republic totalitarian government? I don't know. I'm not going to continue to ask my government to do stuff for us when all it does is hurt us, right? I don't even know if they could even implement it at this point. I mean, the VA is an amazing example of how they can do it the right way. They just don't want to do it the right way. Now, don't get me wrong, the VA's got problems, but when you go and you poll those that go to veterans, they'll tell you they love the VA. So, there's a little contrast between that. Okay, guys, let's talk about homelessness. There's some moves in San Francisco to clean up the streets, and it's not the way you would hope. Like they would actually do outreach, reach out to these people that are homeless, houseless, living on the streets, and help secure them a residency. No, not that. They just put some planters on the streets and shoo them down the street. Go away.
A few weeks ago, a street in the Mission was a maze of tents and sidewalk vendors. Even a mother with her stroller couldn't even get through. So neighbors, well, they took action. They raised thousands of dollars on their own, and just weeks later, it took a dramatic turn. Look at this difference for sure. But can they do that? We will send our Betty Yu to find out.
A San Francisco mother who lives nearby decided to record what a typical walk with her baby is like on Harrison between 18th and 19th. On this day, she was headed to a community meeting to address neighborhood concerns. The sidewalk appeared impassable, so she pushed her stroller into the bike lane to get around. She said at one point, the person from the encampment became upset at her filming and threw alcohol on her.
These were some bad news, tough characters. Police were called down here every week, if not multiple times a week. There were stabbings.
Longtime resident David Dempsey took a walk down the same sidewalk Monday for the first time in years after a neighborhood group raised more than $20,000 online to install planters along several blocks of Harrison. He said particularly at night, the sidewalk turned into an illegal bicycle chop shop, or worse.
It's unfortunate that as a city, with our $14 billion budget, that the city can't manage sidewalks properly, but everybody in the neighborhood is thrilled. There's not a single, again, I've lived here 25 years. I know everybody in the neighborhood. Nobody has a problem with this.
In fact, San Francisco Public Works said it supports neighbors' efforts to green and beautify their communities. We have specific director's orders that sets guidelines for planter boxes on the sidewalk. Our main concern is to ensure that an accessible path of travel is maintained and that the planters are well maintained. The planters on Harrison appear to meet the standards.
Sidewalks need to be for our children to play in. Our family, accessible for people in wheelchairs.
Longtime residents Francesca Pastine and Lucy Junis from the Intermission Neighborhood Association advised the Harrison Street Group on their project. The two helped place 150 wine barrel planters, including these, around the Mission to make the sidewalks more inviting.
This was a particularly bad encampment. I was afraid to get near it. When they just put the planters in, they didn't even have all the dirt in. I walked down on that block. It was just beautiful.
While he appreciates the planters, David doesn't know how long the sidewalk will stay clear.
Well, you can see somebody, people are tagging them already.
What do you guys think? I heard a lot about placing planters, but I didn't hear a damn word about what they did with the homeless. They didn't place them. These people are outreach, but they're more concerned with the sidewalk in the neighborhood, having kids playing on the streets. This is just disgusting. And I'm sure that these women at some point were out there screaming about, we got to help the homeless. I'm sure they're Democrats. It is San Francisco. But not a word about where where they house them. What they do, they just shoved them down the road. I just saw somebody say there's a huge encampment just down that way. This just pisses me off. That's all it does is it makes me angry. Like you care more about your planters that you're putting out there than the actual human fucking beings that are on the street going without, who don't have homes. Do you think they want to live in front of your front fucking door on the street? No, they'd much rather have their chop shop, in the back of a garage than on your front path. But these people can't even comprehend that because it's selfishness, right? It just comes down to straight up selfishness. I want to be able to come out and enjoy my sidewalk and not have to deal with you people. I mean, even that woman who's she's part of outreach, but she was scared to come down and talk to that encampment. Somebody said that you shouldn't be taking pictures of them. I agree. Was that Ghost Star or Popeye? That it's horrible. Popeye. I never photograph homeless because I don't like to be photographed. So why would they? Exactly. And all they see is people that hate them, right? Taking their picture. And I get it. I get it too. That's so fucking horrible. But that's the reality of it. And if you don't do what they want you to do, right, they have their police state that protects them, not you, to take you down. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this. I got this from Joe, and viewer discretion. This is disgusting, and this is excess force.
I got it. Hey, just stop. Stop fighting it, okay? Look at me.
Here's the receipt, bro. Read it, dumbass. Get over here. Read my receipt. Read it.
It's went past the receipt.
Read my receipt. Can you have him read the receipt?
He's not doing nothing wrong, officer. Dayton, stop. Dayton, put your hands behind your back.
Okay, calm down. I will.
Dayton, do it. Just do it, Dayton.
Okay.
He didn't do that.
My hands are behind my back.
Make sure you get his receipt. Okay, it's on the floor.
Hey, there's his receipt that he got accused of stealing. Look, she handed him the receipt, so he can't say that they stole.
Never mind the fact that he had a receipt and proof of purchase. The fact that police are willing to brutalize a man over a frozen pizza is all the proof you need that the police exist solely to protect the wealth and property of the rich.
Ruby Ridge, a reminder that the government will kill your wife, children, and dog to enforce their gun laws. Yes, don't even get me started on Ruby Ridge and Waco, but that was disgusting. What was that? A $5 fucking pizza, and he had a receipt. We just saw a cop with, the guy's got blue hair. Let's take him down. Even if he stole the pizza, that's a misdemeanor charge that most states are not pursuing any longer. Anything under $1,000 in the blue states, from what I understand, they're not even charging you with. If they give you a summons, it's a summons to go to court. It's not even an arrest. This is disgusting. He is still alive, unlike most. Good point, Manitalk. Good point, Jimmy. Yeah. He got to walk away, probably only because he had a receipt, right? Only because he had a receipt. It's tough right now. I saw this go up, and yes, this was a joke, but this is in my local area. Port Angeles looks like shit. That's the next town over from me. $2,800 a month, no pets, no kids, no negotiable, $2,000 damage deposit, 1-year lease, must have 5 times rent, no bathroom, no kitchen, no plumbing or electrical, close to the park in the YMCA, still of a deal. Yeah, it's got windows, so at least you get some natural light in there, right? But the funniest part of that post was somebody put in the comment section, that's the most legit posting I've seen in months for rentals. Because that's the reality of it. From coast to coast, I don't care where you're at. Finding a rental is impossible right now, right? And it's why, because we let the corporations come in, buy up all our fucking properties, then send the rent like 5 times higher, and that's where we're at. I brought you guys a report, I want to say like 3 weeks ago, about how rent prices are going to start to come down just because there's so many fucking vacancies. Why is there so many vacancies? Because there's so many people living on the fucking streets. That's why. I like these time-lapse pictures. I see them all over. Empire and Decay. So 2009. God, for those us old people, 2009 just seems like yesterday, doesn't it? So 2009, this was a $230,000 house. 10 years later, $989,000 house. And look at it. This always blows my mind when I see houses in Michigan and, Detroit, whatever. It just blows my mind at how nice they look just 10 years ago and what they look like now. That's the decline of empire. And why is this happening? Because we don't put money into our own country anymore. We put it into Ukraine. That's where it goes. That's where it goes. I had to bring Whitney Webb to say, I fucking told you so, because she did fucking tell us so. The WEF calls for a 75% reduction in private car ownership. Oh, didn't we call that? Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. We did. They're going to get rid of our cars, guys. We've been talking about it for a while. 100 freaking percent. DC. Everyone always brings up Waco and Ruby Ridge, but no one ever talks about Move. Philadelphia, 1985, when Philadelphia PD and SWAT bombed a black anarchist community. Yes. I've talked about that before, DC. We haven't talked about it lately. I will start adding Move into my whole Waco, Ruby Ridge. Yeah, when the government wants to shut you down, they can. Here's an example. I have a really good friend, total freaking sweetheart. I met her in the Bernie movement. She is part of barter type communities, right? She's lived in a lot of them. So she lived in this commune in Idaho, where they had a barter community. If you grew vegetables, then you could trade them for somebody who sewed clothes or whatnot, right? So I don't remember how many was in this community, a couple hundred, and they were doing well. They were surviving. They were thriving. They were happy. They, didn't depend on the government or anything local. They were self-sourcing. So what did the FBI do? They came and kicked in the fucking doors and arrested all of them and shut them down, because you're not allowed to do that in this country. And so she told me that story, but she has since moved on, and she's in another commune. I won't say where, but it is on the West Coast, and they're trying again. So kudos to them for continuing to try. I love these like retirement communities of people that are coming together. And it's not just here in the US, it's happening in Mexico too, where they're coming together, they're pooling their money, they're buying properties together, they're doing agriculture, they're growing their own stuff, they're making their own things, and they're becoming self-sufficient. They're building the parallel structures away from our fucking society, which is what we always talk about, right? We have to get off of our structures and have our own. And that's what those communities are doing. But the FBI does not like it one bit, not one bit at all. What do we got here? If the fucking bastard wins, we're all going to hang from the nooses. You better fix this shit. Hillary Clinton, email to Donna Brazil, October 17th, 2016. Just wanted to remind you guys of that. And did you know the term conspiracy theorist was a term made popular by the CIA to stop critical thinkers from asking questions about the JFK assassination? In a memo called Countering Criticism of the Warren Report, the CIA sent out to make the term conspiracy theorist weapon to be used against anyone who questions the government's secret activities and programs. Yes, and that is exactly where the term conspiracy theorist came from, right? If you thought somebody was on the grassy knoll, you were a conspiracy theorist. We don't have any alien stories today, but I just love this meme. Good job, Oz. It'll be back the next time we get a good story. This is in Know Your Lunatics. This is my lunatic segment. So, or Know Your Parasites. So you got brown dog tick, deer tick, and Lone Star tick, and then of course lunatic. I find these two lunatics as well. Spotify executives call Prince Harry and Meghan fucking grifters. I got to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom meeting I had with Harry to try and help him with his podcast ideas. I would love to hear that story. And the royals are just trying to say that, well, no, we just parted ways, because remember she had that podcast called the Architect or the Archetype or something. They took it off their kid's name, right? Because their oldest kid's name's Archie. So it's the Archie type. Yeah, that's right. It was. Why would you want to listen to narcissistic, fucking delusional people like this? I find that woman the most narcissistic, delusional, and her boo there, he's just as freaking bad. He's busy losing a case over at the UK right now, because he's suing them for always publishing his life in the papers. Well, you are a royal. There's one way to get away from that. Stop being a royal. Just saying. So yeah, bad shit happening to bad people. Good time. Good time. This has been bouncing from deck to deck for like 5 days now. So let's talk about it. We pulled it from Saturday's show and I pulled it from Monday's show too. So broken generation, 64% of Gen Xers have stopped saving for retirement. A recent survey conducted by the Cleaver Real Estate polled 1,000 Gen Xers born between 1965 and 1980 to find out how they fare when it comes to their personal finances and the road to retirement. A staggering 58% of Gen Xers say that they have less than $100,000 saved for retirement. Less than, can you imagine? And 22% said they have none at all, not even a single cent. While they desire to retire may be there, the money just isn't. A whopping 64% of respondents said that they've stopped saving for retirement, not because they don't want to, but because they simply can't afford it. Who out there is sitting pretty for their retirement that's still young? That's never even been a thought or a factor for most of us. The 2008 crash took my 401k and fucking annihilated it. And so many others, right? Where are we getting this money to save for retirement? The government takes all our money. I mean, yeah, I know it could be worse. It could be worse, but yeah, this is not a reality. We don't live in the same generation as the boomers. The boomers could, one could work and take a vacation and support a whole family. That's never been a reality for Gen Xers, never at all. Gen Xers, I think, were the real first generation where you had to have two people working in a household in order to make, ends meet. And it's still like that, right? So yeah, where is this money going to come from for us to start saving for retirement? No, we're all looking and praying and hoping, crossing our fingers that we make it to Medicare age. But the reality of that is by the time most of us get there, what's it going to be? 80, 82? I mean, most people will die before they ever hit their payouts from Social Security. I know most of the people in my family did. You work hard, you break your body down, you're a laborer, you're a blue collar worker. Odds are you're not going to make it to that payout. And if you do, maybe they'll have to pay you for 6 months, maybe a year. Yeah, that's insane. I have a $2 bill for retirement. Midnight Karma. That's hilarious. Oh, Rokfin. I got some talkers over on the Rokfin. JF Bree says, yesterday, Scott Ritter was asked what it is all of the military in the streets. And he said, it is normal Army training. Well, if Scott Ritter says that's normal training, I tend to believe it. I respect Scott when it comes to, knowing what's going on with the military. So good to know. I mean, I didn't think it was anything more than training, but we definitely keep an eye on it. Just make sure, do you guys see this nasty shit? I got to be careful because I am on YouTube this morning, but we are going to get into the COVID section. So Mark Cuban stiffens COVID-19 stance. If you work for me, I require all my employees to be vaccinated. Yeah, Mark Cuban, he's a bad dude, right? Bad dude. And I love Whitney's response to this. The real conspiracy theorists are the people who think that the jab industry is magically the only industry free of deep corruption, even with several giants having been caught and forced to pay multi-million-dollar fines for rigging drug trials and bribing politicians, or lobbying as we like to call it. Yes, great point, Whitney. And the real conspiracy theorists believe the government cares about them. The media never would mislead or lie to them. And the pharmaceutical industry that makes billions off of sicknesses wants to cure them. Yeah, that is not the reality, right? That is not the reality at all. Mark Cuban, shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Okay, let's talk about the lab leak, guys. Lab leak theory. Now we got Rusty Rockets out here pushing the lab leak theory, right? Oh, the first people who got sick came out of the Wuhan lab. But Rusty is saying, Russell Crowe is saying a little bit more than what you would see on the mainstream media. And that is the fact that who funded that laboratory? Oh, wait a minute. We funded that laboratory. Been telling you guys that since 2020.
Credible evidence suggests that the first people that got coronavirus worked at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And a new report tells us that US taxpayers funded it. So in a way, we, if you're a US taxpayer, caused and funded the whole pandemic. Thanks a lot, us. Hello there, you 6.4 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining us on this voyage together towards truth and freedom. And what a voyage it is when the truth is continually concealed, undermined, and denied by the most powerful institutions in the world, whether that's the state or the mainstream media. Turn on your notification bell right now so you get our content when we make it daily. And join us on Rumble. 5 days a week, we make this show where we have interviews like the one we had with Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger, where they broke this story for the first time outside of their Substack, that the first people
broke
that
this
contracted
story?
coronavirus worked by coincidence at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Now, there's no evidence that tells us that they hadn't just been in a bat cave for their own reason, brushing up against bats, sniffing bats, maybe even licking bats. But that, coupled with the fact that US taxpayers funded that research, starts to demonstrate perhaps why particular narratives were amplified and others were undermined, withdrawn, and shut down. This is an important conversation about power. It involves some of the most influential institutions in the world. What can we learn from this? How can we prevent it happening again? And I don't just mean more pandemics, I mean more global corruption.
Details on the origins of the coronavirus suggest that the virus escaped from a Chinese lab in Wuhan.
Of course it did. It's so strange, isn't it, the way that this is unfolded. Let me know in the chat if you already have a kind of fatigue around this, if you've stopped concentrating on it. The way to keep yourself engaged and interested is by reminding yourself about what happened during that 2-year period, the way that information was censored, the way that people were ridiculed, the way that certain solutions were quite aggressively pushed, the rhetoric on the news, people should be shamed. All of this is just months ago. And now being revealed explicitly and plainly is you were right the whole time.
Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel tonight with the new report and the findings on who were the first to be infected.
Not only did we confirm that the virus came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China.
Also, just at a glance, it don't look safe enough, does it? It looks too old. It looks like a terrible high school building. They're not trying hard enough in there. They're probably not washing their hands. They're definitely not more than 1.5 meters per side, and I bet they weren't even vaccinated.
A new report on the online platform Substack says scientists at the lab in Wuhan were the first COVID-19 patients in the fall of 2019 while conducting controversial gain-of-function research. The story names the scientists as Ben Hu, Yu Ping, and Yan Zhu.
Chinese scientists Ben Hu, Ping Yu, and Yan Zhu were the first humans to contract COVID-19. Don't be childish and don't try and do that. Who's got COVID? What? Who's got COVID? Zhu's got COVID. It came from a zoo now? No, look, one's called Hu and one's called Zhu. Don't be racist. That was the problem in the first place.
FBI Director Christopher Wray told Brett Baer the Bureau's theory about COVID's origin back on February 28th.
The FBI has for quite some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic are most likely a potential lab incident in Wuhan.
Yet the White House chief medical advisor during the pandemic has offered other explanations.
Totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human.
Oh, God, look at that shit
We have an
show.
open mind, but it looks very, very much like this was a natural occurrence.
It'd be good if it was a natural occurrence, because that would mean it wasn't entirely my fault.
Dr. Robert Redfield was CDC director during the pandemic.
I'm very disappointed in how he's responded to this. Largely, I think it's grounded in his advocacy for gain of function.
100%. It's grounded in his advocacy for gain of function, right? That's what Fauci's never going to admit it came out of that lab. But okay, let's talk about a few things. Taibbi and Schellenberg did not break this story. They might have been the first ones to cover it to where it got mainstream attention, but this story has been out there. We have been talking about that story for years. And then does it feed into the China narrative? Well, outright to the public, yes, it does, right? Because they just go, oh, the Chinese, laboratory of virology. But the reality of it is we were the ones funding that lab. The NIH was funding that lab. The WHO knew what was going on in that lab. This is just disgusting. And yeah, let's talk about Russell Brand for a second. I got questions when it comes to Russell, guys. Sometimes I love what he has to say. I don't know. I find him. He knew what was going on in Hollywood, right? You don't marry Katy fucking Perry and not know what the fuck is going on in Hollywood. So I would love to sit down with him. For one, I want to know what his 33 tattoo is about, because when you understand symbolism, that's like, what? What? So, we know we got infiltrators all around us. I'm not saying he's an infiltrator. I'm just saying I got questions. I will still click one of his videos occasionally, but he's not somebody I go to on the regular to get information from. Now, this story, the Peter Hotez story, everybody's been covering it. So I just brought you a couple of clips from it. Of course, I brought you the encounter that happened on his front, stoop this weekend, and then the man who went and turned himself into the jail because the libs lost their mind. How dare you talk to somebody outside their house and ask them questions?
Okay. Oh, are you Peter Hotez?
I am. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Hey. So why are you not gonna debate RFK on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Oh, come on, that's harassing.
I'm just curious.
That's harassing? How is that harassing?
Nothing hostile, just curious.
I haven't said anything one way or the other.
I mean, are you planning on doing it?
He just invited me, so we'll see.
And I think you should, though.
Well, we'll give it some thought.
Okay.
Okay.
And what do you have to say to people who think they're vaccine injured?
Come on.
Anything for them?
Don't come to my house.
I mean, do you have anything to say to people that think? Do you have anything to say to people? Yeah. I mean, do you think vaccine injuries are real, Peter? Peter, it's just a question. Settle the science now. On a safari to go vaccinate more kids?
That was pretty funny. Okay, now he took a ration of shit online after he posted that video. The libs were like, "You're evil, you're harassing, how dare you? You need to be thrown in prison." So he marched himself down to the local police just to see if there was a warrant out for him and if he did anything illegal.
All right, guys. After my heinous crimes I committed today, such as talking to a public figure, I feel the inevitable coming. All these leftists suddenly love the police and want to report the most pettiest of crimes to them. So you know what? The inevitable's coming. I'm turning myself in to Houston PD. I even brought my shoes, unlike with Peter. We'll see how this goes. Might as well get ahead of it and cooperate fully.
That is a mighty beard he is sporting.
How's it going? Turn myself in. I don't know if there's any warrants out, but I committed a terrible freaking crime today. I freaking asked a few questions to a sacred figure. I committed a hate crime, I think. And is asking questions to somebody on their front lawn illegal?
No, unless they ask you to leave their front lawn, but if you're on the sidewalk, no.
Oh, it was on their front lawn, but after he didn't want to talk, we just both went separate ways. Is that illegal?
No.
It's not?
I mean, it depends on what.
Yeah, no, he didn't tell me to leave, we just both walked separate ways.
Well, I mean, asking him questions?
Yeah, I was just are you gonna... It was a presidential debate thing. I was are you gonna debate this one guy? And he's like, I don't know. And I asked him what he thinks about, there were shots involved with children.
Shots?
Yep, in their right arms. COVID vaccines.
So you gave children shots today?
No. It was just asking somebody about it on his front lawn, and
He injected children.
Well, no, he just kind of made vaccines or helps with that. But I just asked him what does he think about that, and he didn't really want to talk after that, and we kind of went separate ways, and it was a 50-second interaction.
So where did the hate crime come in?
Well, I mean, these people are telling me that I should kill myself for doing it. So is that not a hate crime? I don't know. I don't think I was bad to him, but apparently all these people that I thought hated the police now know all the laws in Houston. I don't know. I didn't really say anything bad to him. I just kind of shook his hand and left.
Okay, so you're wanting to turn yourself in for that today?
Is that like a crime? I heard it was. Like just shaking someone's hand and leaving on their property?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you both engaged in the handshake, you should be fine.
Yeah, we did. It was...
I think you guys have heard that. I know everybody has played that, but yeah, I have questions about his net worth too. So as you can see here, I screenshot his net worth. It is $35 million and considered one of the richest scientists. Hotez earns millions from various health organizations based out of China and the U.S. No way. I got to point out that Miss Amber King has been calling this asshat out for years now and pointing all of these things out about him. And will he go on Rogan? Bullshit. Chicken shit. He's out there blocking people left and right. I think there's so many, that people that we follow have been blocked by him just this week alone for calling this shit out in real time, for posting, facts. And he don't want to hear none of it. I saw this morning that he just posted a bullshit article about how COVID is the #1 killer of children. Like, seriously, you are going to post that with a straight face? Okay, well, there you go. According to him, take your job. Let's see, what do we got here? Why billionaires are obsessed with blocking out the sun. Why are billionaires obsessed with blocking out the sun? Good question. How self-made billionaires got their starts. Let's see. Gates. Mom sat on the same board as the CEO of IBM and convinced him to take a risk on her son's new company. Bezos started Amazon with $300,000 in seed capital from his parents and more from some rich friends. And the son of powerful congressman, let's see, that's more Buffett, was owned an investment company. Oh, so daddy gave Buffett the money. And of course, we know daddy gave Elon his money because he owned the emerald mines in apartheid Africa. These guys didn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And the money that they did make, they made from our fucking government. Let's look at it. From the government. Who's in bed with all of these guys? Oh, our government. And if they're not, then it's DARPA, right? The military industrial complex. They're the ones that are single-handedly creating Musk, right? I think so. I got a little meme here. Jeff Bezos now has roughly $189 billion. The average American's yearly income is $32,000. How long would it take an average worker to make the amount Bezos has made? 5.9 million years. This level of inequality is a crime against humanity. Absolutely. I saw if you took all the money that Bezos has and you put it in pennies and then you stack the pennies on top of each other, not only would it reach the sun, it would wrap around the sun 8 fucking times. That's disgusting. That is disgusting when you know how far away the sun really is. So gross. What are you doing? You making cute little eyeballs?
Yes.
Look what she made me. Oh, it's got little googly eyes. Isn't it cute? This is a follow-up story, guys, from a story that I brought you guys, I want to say over a year ago. This is a heartbreaking, sad story of a young girl with autism whose parents in Louisiana left her on a couch. She literally rotted and melted into the couch. Do you guys remember this story? Kate, I know you remember this story probably. Heartbreaking. The parents got arrested, right? She was like a 22-year-old woman. Maybe she had Asperger's. I think she had Asperger's. And they just ignored her. They just acted like she wasn't there. Anyways, they have dropped the charges on the parents for this, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to seek more charges. They just had to amend the charges and change it. So here you go.
We begin with a case that has been hard for even the most seasoned investigators to forget: the death of Lacey Fletcher. Last January, what was left of her rotting 100-pound body was found embedded embedded, melted into a couch in her parents' Louisiana home. Investigators say the sofa was soaked with urine, feces, and other bodily fluids. Fletcher was disabled, and her parents, according to police, just left her there for years until she died. WBRZ Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto has been following the investigation from the very beginning. He joins us with an update that we first brought you here on The Factor months ago.
And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight is Chris Nakamoto, investigative reporter from WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge. Chris, you and I talked about this very disturbing case several months ago involving Lacey Fletcher, the 36-year-old who died in her parents' house. For those who don't know the past history, first tell us how she was found in her parents' house, and then we'll get to the latest news.
It was just an extraordinary situation. Paramedics showed up at her house last January, and they found her literally melted into the couch, covered in feces, looked like her hair hadn't been brushed for years, totally neglected. The coroner's office ruled that she was totally neglected. She was literally fused to the sofa. This as her parents were coming and going, living normal lives, going to work. Meanwhile, they have their daughter who had not gotten up from the sofa in what the coroner estimates was possibly years.
Wow. And what kind of illness did she have that they left her on that sofa without attending to her?
She had a condition called Asperger's syndrome. And so essentially it was just kind of a situation where she became more and more reclusive. A lot of the neighbors told us as we began covering the story, they used to see her outside playing, and then all of a sudden they stopped seeing her as she got older. And so they just thought that maybe she had moved on and moved away. But turns out she was living right there in her parents' living room, and that's where she died, unfortunately, as well.
Now, initially when this case broke, her parents were charged with murder. But now there's been a change in that, right?
That's right. So they were charged with murder and cruelty to the infirm. And from our understanding, it can't be both. And so as the DA was kind of looking at everything, their lawyers filed some court motions that basically had those charges removed because the indictment had some added language after. And so the new indictment was tossed on a technicality, but we did speak with the district attorney, and he says he plans on bringing it back up and having this couple re-indicted because he believes justice won't be served until they.
So I did a very in-depth report on this back in the CC Gal days. Some of you guys remember about a year ago, I used to do a show with Farron Franzak called the CC Gals, which stood for Court Cunts. And we covered court shows and court cases around the country. And this was sadly one of the cases that I got really in-depth with. I mean, I brought you guys like the whole story, lots of pictures. This is neglect. This is straight up neglect. And I'm going to keep following this story. These parents knew. They knew that daughter was on that couch. They knew how severely sick she was. The smell alone, my mic is heavy, high. Okay, I'll turn it down. The smell alone in that house is like nothing that the coroner had ever seen in his life at all. He immediately walked out of the house and threw up. This was a coroner, you know. Like, this is a terrible case. So I'll let you guys know a week or two if they get charged. I will bring you an update on this story. You know, I lived down in that area for a long time, so I understand those rural bayou communities in Louisiana. And I don't understand how this happened because they're very close-knit communities. They really are. They really are. So for this to have been happening and nobody to know that she used to play in the yard, then just nobody ever saw her again. That's so crazy. That is just insane. Okay, don't worry, guys. Hunter did not hear that story. I've got the earbuds in. She's got no sound. So I was telling her, they don't want you to hear this story. I'm careful about what Hunter hears and what she doesn't. But she's a very smart girl. She has been raised by, you know, conspiracy theorist me. So let's see. This is my Gen X one. I don't think I've ever felt as carefree as I did flying around the roller rink on a Saturday night as a kid. The sense of freedom, the music blasting, laughing with friends, not a worry in the world. God, it was great, wasn't it, guys? Late 70s, 80s. We don't even have a roller rink anymore. They don't even have that around here for our kids.
In Port Angeles.
Are they building a new one?
for the summertime, they're making one where the ice skating rink
Oh, they
is.
turned the ice skating rink into a roller rink now. Oh, that thing's tiny though compared to what our skating rink locally went under, and a lot of them have gone under, right? I mean, how much money can you make charging kids $5 on a skate rental and for nachos? So a lot of these places have gone under, and it's sad because the kids don't have wholesome fun like that. But I'm glad to hear that they turned the ice skating rink into the roller rink. And just a FYI for all of you true crime lovers out there, psychologists warn it is a major red flag if you relax by enjoying true crime stories. I don't know what that means for me because I love true crime. I've always loved true crime, and maybe it is disturbing. I don't know. I think I've learned a lot over the years. And my last Gen Xer one, let's see. A majority of Americans would like to return to time before cell phones, internet, according to a new poll. I know I would. If I had the choice, I would go. I would go. So Gen X, the forgotten middle child, 1965 to 1980, independent, resourceful, self-sufficient. We made whatever an emotion. Damn right we did. It's so true. You guys get all the boomer stuff on Saturday night, so I got to bring you the Gen X stuff to my show for sure. And we're almost out of here, but I've got your gardening meme for the day. Gardening meme. Me outside at 7 a.m. making sure my plants are okay. That is so me. That is so me. I was out there this morning. I got to go make sure everything's okay. Nobody ate anything. What bugs attacked my stuff? You guys know. You got to protect your babies out there. I hope everybody's getting out in the sun and getting some gardening done, even if it's not much.
We're going camping.
I know you're going camping. That's exciting.
That's going outside.
That is going outside.
Gardening, but I mean,
it isn't gardening, but we do have some gardening to do. I've got your brother's sweet peas. We're going to go plant after this. So I'm out of here. I'm going to go hang out with Hunter. We're going to probably, go through my jewelry, maybe get outside for a walk, do some gardening. Oh, yeah.
look through old photos.
Oh, she wants to go through photos. I guess I'm going to be pulling all the photos out. So that's what's on the agenda for this afternoon. I am not going to do a show tomorrow, guys, just because Pasta is busy. He has somebody, I think he's got an interview that he's actually going to be doing. And I've got Hunter here. It's her last day before she takes off to go camping. So I'm going to hang out with baby girl. And I will see you guys Friday morning. But Saturday, you can join Oz and I for our all new Beauty and the Boomer. This week's card's great. And Oz chose Neil Diamond. I got to tell you guys, I gave him a little pushback in the green room over it. Like, I love Neil Diamond, Oz, don't get me wrong, but when you know what he was singing about, it's kind of gross. Like, I like, you'll probably get some pushback from the audience, but you guys seem to be loving it. So, sometimes you got to separate these artists from their work. What, dear? Oh, you're just putting things up. Yeah, let's see. What else do I got before we are out of here? You can catch all of my shows. They're all under different names on different platforms. Beauty and the Boomer, Trailer Park Pundit, and they're all Trailer Trash Productions at the end of the day. Because that's my production company. Trailer Trash Productions. And Julian Assange. Hey, guys, you can write Julian Assange. Please screenshot it. Get the address. Send him a postcard. He is literally seconds away from being put on a fucking plane and brought here to stand trial for made up bullshit. They're going to use the Espionage Act against him. Go over to Misty Winston's feed. She did a really nice breakdown of where the case is, where all the other cases are, because there's multiple cases now where they're suing the CIA. They're suing this security force that went in there and got co-opted and spied on him. So there's a lot going on, but Julian is literally just one asshole judge away from being on a plane here. So I will keep you updated, and Misty always keeps you guys updated on that. So we appreciate it. Yes. Happy summer solstice to everybody. Jilly, I actually brought the Stonehenge from yesterday, or maybe it was from this morning. I don't know. Did they take it yesterday morning or this morning? But either way, it is summertime. So enjoy it. Get out there. Misty checked rights, Julians.com to check with Belmarsh will allow. Oh, okay. No sun in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I know. It's been raining here and it's been cold. At Beauty and the Boomer. Shanda, please prepare a show with Hunter. It was fun when you two made a show together. Well, yeah, she'll be back. Summer's out. She's taking off to go camping tomorrow afternoon, but then she'll be back on the 5th. She's going to come stay with me for like a week and a half on July 5th. So you'll get a show from Chanda and Hunter. She's going to do the same thing as Nana when she grows up. I already know it. Yes, you are. Jem, see you later, Hunter and Chanda. Great show. Got harvesting to do. Bok choy. Yeah, I like collard greens, chard, kale. Finding ways to cook it. Yeah, that's the key, right? It's finding ways to cook all of it. Sun is incoming. Amber says, yes, I can see the sun cracking here on the coast, Amber. I think it's headed your way. It should be there in about an hour if I'm right. So everybody say bye, Hunter. Hi, Hunter. Okay, we are out of here, and I've got a great closer for you guys. This is Black Magic Woman Santana cover by the Barry Leaf Band. And yeah, YouTube will hit me, but it's so worth it for you guys to have a good closer. I will see you guys Friday morning for Uncensored. That means Rokfin and Rumble only, no YouTube, because everything I can't talk about on YouTube, I save up for Friday. So I will see you guys Friday. Have a great day.
You can't let that go by.
We're still rolling.
Okay.
So,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Tricks.